So I did my husband a favor last week, April 20th, the day of the 29-degree Aries solar eclipse, and he was all stressed out. We're going through a lot. Our whole family is right now. All of us being hit with Saturn and Pluto and Uranus and the eclipses. So there's a lot going on. It's kind of stressful, but I do what I do, and I try to put out fires as we go. So he needed to go pick up some special trim wood that was only available at one lumber company in Fort Worth. So I agreed to make the 35-mile drive or so to go pick that up for him, help him out. So I get there, and the salesman is so excited. Uh, when I walk in, he says, "Did you know your last name's a palindrome?" He says, "And you need to look at this invoice. It's a palindrome too." He says, "We should play the lottery." And he was so excited and so sweet. Um, so uh, I on the way home, I was like, there's an asteroid for that lumber company's name. I'm gonna chart it and see. Someone told me to look. So, it's been I've gotten a lot of stuff that I've made charts for that I can make videos of just in the last week and a half. It's been pretty crazy. Um, so I have all this information sitting here. Many things happened even just on this one day. Uh, so anyway, So I pulled up the charts and I started looking and I was like, oh my gosh, I have the salesman's name, my husband's name, his nickname, my name's, um, the name of the lumber company, the address, the cross streets, everything just lined up just perfectly. So with my chart here, it has a lot more asteroids in it than the others that I'll show do because it was just so related to the eclipse and to my astrology. There's a couple I put in here just kind of to bolster my confidence because pulling charts up like this has become like second nature. I told my husband it's like I can flick them out like a booger. Um, why I don't know yet. I do have quirk here next to my Gagnero for those that haven't been here yet. Yes, I mispronounce it, but there are three asteroids I use for myself besides the last names. This one here, my mother had told me that my real name was based off of a French name that was spelled like Gagner. So I used that one. And then my dad says, no, he showed me a paper. It was more closer to Gianna here. And then, of course, my childhood nickname was Ginky. Now, my Ginky and Mercury and Eris, Chiron, they all sit together here. So anyway, so we have Quirk here, and that's real close to my Gianna as well. And then we have over here with some of my astrology asteroids, Celestia, Urania, Astro Courier in my first house. We have Protogenia, which is related to, revolutionaries doing something for the first time. So that makes me feel better when I remind myself that I do have this sextile to my Mercury and Eris, Chiron, Ginky. Um, you know, who has all the self-esteem in the world? Nobody. So anyway, as I'm recording this, Uranus is at 18 degrees opposite my quirk. Um, and I went ahead and I color coded just to help me out, but for anybody that's looking at this too, so you can see. So I guess we can start with the 0 and 29 degrees. I tried to highlight them. It's hard to know when to stop, but we had the eclipse here, and the invoice number that he was so excited about, 461164, was at 2934. The sun at 2940. The moon 2725. So my Atlantis, that seems to be involved in every big thing that happens in my life, at 2940 is exactly semi-sextile to the sun here. My husband's name, 2935, of course, connects. And my husband's nickname at 2843. So we have this semi-sextile going on here. Then we have 2831. The lumber company sits at the corner of Adolph and White Settlement Road. Um, I chose Adolph Bourne because Bourne is a Lemurian asteroid, and it fits in quite well. There were only two to choose from. So this white here is just asteroid white. I also used asteroid White House because White Settlement, White House, So anyway, so that sits here, and of course my aura, I don't have it marked, is across from here. Um, and then we have Pluto at 020, my husband's nickname at 2951, the salesman's first name. Here it sits natally in my chart at 048. So Pluto, does rule astrology. Um, so those are all connected there. And that makes a square to the eclipse here. Ninth house is related to astrology, especially because my ninth house is mainly Aquarius. So then we go to my natal wood is 047. So it connects. And we're going to stretch to the 27 here. Our real last name, the palindrome, sits here 27. And that connects here to a square to Neptune, 2623. And then to the moon that morning that I went. So then we have karma and my mom's first and middle name, and Neowise, the comet that blew through, what was that, 2020? Some big things happened when Neowise came through, so I charted it, and Neowise means new wisdom, and I had a big jump then. So the eclipse was opposite my karma and Neowise, and of course the invoice number 461164. When I put it in, I'm going to show you down here. Astrodance calls it 2015 TZ146. When I Google that, I can't find any information. All that pulls up is another similar call name, TB something, that's the skull asteroid that came through in 2015 at Halloween. And that was a huge time of growth for me too. I believe that's when I started studying astrology seriously. And I'll just jump real quick. Mine sits here connected to my Uranus and Gagnerot. So anyway, back to the 29s and zeros. Of course, my Pluto 0 here is opposite my natal Diaritza, which is asteroid backwards in Atlantis, um, and the transiting husband's nickname and husband's name. And then these all connect again to Urania that was at 2934. And 2934, that's really close to the Atlantis. I've found that with the squares, it seems to be a lot of karmic timing of things, just like the inconjuncts, which are 150 degrees or 5 signs. Um, it just, with this right on time stuff, it just really seems to stand out. So we have Urania opposite wood, and I did choose wood because lumber, I didn't even look to see if there was a lumber asteroid. I just know that wood exists because I've used it with my dad's wood stove and chopping wood for him. And my husband's a framer, so of course he works with wood a lot. Okay, so that's just the 29s and zeros. So then if we go the smaller things, we have the south node at 4 degrees. So the north node directly across is at 4 degrees. And my vertex is 4 degrees, 32 minutes. So the north node has crossed my anti-vertex. And from everything I've read, when something crosses it, then, it makes an impact. So that's also within range of my north node and my south node. So right now we have a square going on with the transit nodes and my own nodes. Having a little sinus allergy issues going on. Oh yeah, I forgot at 29-0. My Mars and Miller are also here at 0 degrees. That connects into all the 29s and zeros. So back to the 3s and 4s and What have we got? Saturn at 4:32, which is, I find hilarious because I see countdown numbers all the time. And of course, here's 432, and that's trine to the south node, sextile to the north node, and connecting to my own nodes. What else do we have? And if we want to stretch it, we've got, I don't think I did sixes and sevens. It's so hard to divide them up. My own Saturn's at 222. Let's stick to the threes and fours for right now. Oh, Gianna, retrograde at 4 degrees. So that's square to Saturn. Then, oh, yeah, and this is where I get lost trying to go in the circles. Oh, the salesman by transit here at 2 degrees 50 minutes, retrograde Libra, sits here near my Pax, which is 145. So the 5, 6, 7s. We have my Neptune at 508. Gianna had retrograded back past that. And then we connect here to my Jupiter at 7, which natally squares my Sun. Then we have Teague, which is the name of the lumber company. I'm sure they don't mind the advertisement, just don't bother them about astrology. They know lumber. Teague sits here near my Sun. Vesta, of course, my natal Vesta is conjunct my Sun. Transit Quirk had passed over it. Like I said, I have so many things I've charted even before this. Let's see. Then we have White, asteroid of White, sits in the 12th house here, 4 degrees 32 minutes. And then we start going to the 8, 9, 10s. Of course, my ascendant and descendant are 956, and Venus was on my ascendant. Worried about my husband and everything he's been going through. He also had a doctor's appointment that day, and I have another charting of that. And me going into Natal to his doctor on his health issues. So anyway, and our composite Venus is on our midheaven, I do believe it was. So anyway, we have our last name at 8 degrees 25 minutes by transit. Then we have this here, but 956 also connects to the address number of the lumber company. 2501 is Loja, Lohja, and it was at 9 degrees 45 minutes. And of course, that connects to my Vesta and Quirk by transit there. My Astro Wizard is 946, so that creates again a square Astro Wizard to Loja. And then we have our Jupiter. I already have any more. All right, so we'll move on to the next highest. We've got Adolf, one of the cross streets it sits on, and I did drive on it because I had to drive around, find the entrance. Adolf at 1225 sits here at my Juno, 1245. Juno, of course, is soul contracts and committed relationships. Then we have my moon is 1244 here, semi-sextile to that going on. Then Mars is sitting on Sirius, which of course is a pretty big deal. The fixed star Sirius, the dog star. And at 13 degrees, and of course that makes a square to my Chiron, Aries, Ginky, everything that I have here at 13 degrees. My Urania, Protogenia, Celestia also all connect to that Mars at 13 degrees here. Then we have, any more? We gotta move up. Okay, we'll move up next. As I said, the invoice number and whatever this is, I can only assume a comet. The astrodienst provided with that number at 1650 here. Of course, it connects to my Uranus at 1642. And then Gaggenroe and my part of fortune at 1536 and my quirk at 1807. Then we have, I'll get to you in a minute. Chiron was at 16 degrees, 41 minutes, almost exactly opposite my Uranus. Mercury at 1532, and the name of, oh, I mistyped it. Figures. Mercury's at 1532 in the sky there by transit, and that connects 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 over to the name of the lumber company here, Teague, and that's 1532 also. It's correct in the other charts. And like I said, those quincunxes, the inconjuncts, they just really seem to point out a karmic timing. Any more 15s? I get a little blank as I go through. So 17, we have Astro Courier, which of course is delivering astro information. Connects to my Gaggenroe, part of fortune, and quirk. And, oh, then we have Uranus there, 1745. It's been hitting me pretty hard on the chaotic level and on the good side too. I mean, 3D, you get your lows and your highs. So, I mean, that's also Jupiter and Eris have been conjunct over here on my chaos, and it's on 3D level been pretty hectic. But I've had so much magic, I can't even be mad. So, we'll move to the 19s and 20s. We have Wood here at 1909 in transit, and that connects to White House, my natal White House here. Of course, it's close enough to connect to Uranus here. Into the Chiron, and sorry, I'm still laughing, to my natal Adolf, to my husband, who natally sits here at my midheaven. So it also connects to my midheaven and IC. Transit Ginkgo was at 2323, and that's semi-sextile to Pax transit at 2321. Pax is soul contracts agreements. My natal Gianna is 2217. Then we have, we forgot the address here at 19 degrees. That falls in the 2501 address with asteroid 2501. And Protogenia had just crossed over my IC. So that's 19s, 20s, 21s, 22s. Then we go to the 23s. We got, well, Juno at 2245 is opposite Gianna. That's opposite my natal Gianna. We have, I had mentioned that Jupiter and Eris were on my chaos. My chaos is 23 degrees something. So they were there. White House by transit 2531. I'm sorry, this whole thing is amusing. This last few weeks, just you have to laugh. It's been so insane. We did Genki 2323. Okay, so what else have we got? We're just about full circle just on this one chart. I know that karma is right over here about 25 degrees, and for me to sit down today, a lot of it has lined up now, where my husband's nickname and where were they together? Right over here. They're now at, both of them are now at almost 3 degrees Aries, which connects to my north node here. So it's taken me over a week to get this video even going, but everything happens right on time, as I can prove this over and over and over again. All these different connections make various um, aspects, and then the aspects have various meanings, the way that they all pull together. It's a little more complicated. More advanced astrologers will understand what I'm trying to prove here. But, like I said, I can pull these charts up like this, but my real study is the why people are in our lives. Like my husband here sits at my midheaven. He's my third husband. I know where the other ones sit too. But our last name sits on the galactic center, and the way my Pluto sits here at the supergalactic center, I have, well, you know, asteroid Teague here by transit sitting on the great attractor. Uh, I have Destiny on the great attractor and Sisyphus and Amor. So, yeah, so there's just a little detail just on this one chart. I'm going to pull up some other ones here that his charts and the composite charts, but we'll be a little quicker on those. It was just a really big time. All right, wishing I'd color coded this one now because that was kind of easy. I could jump. So this is my progressed composite with my husband, and we'll go ahead and show that the ascendant and descendant right now are 2839, which connects, of course, to where my husband's nickname and name asteroids are here at one of the whites. I also didn't mark which one was white and white house on these. Uh, I'm always going back in and editing and trying to be perfect. It never works. So, anyway, so those are all sitting eighth house. Of course, eighth house rules the astrology, and our sun is progressed sun's at 2915, and that's of Pisces, which would also match up with my karma and Atlantis and asteroids, Diaritza. So anyway, so we have the eclipse here in the ninth house. Um, we have the sun here at 29 degrees, and that connects to Gagnero and Neptune down here at 0 degrees, Sagittarius, and it is opposite our Venus in Virgo. And over here, Gagnero is retrograde back past the Venus at 2835. We have one of the whites here on the 11th house cusp, 27 degrees. And one of the transit whites here at 2831, making a square to the ascendant and descendant. Ginky here is almost on my husband at 2415. And Pax 2321 connects to our Juno here. Let's see. My husband says I make funny noises all the time. So we have a transit Teague here, trying to the Chiron. Oh, I'm familiar with my own natal chart, so it's a lot easier. I can jump without a lot of the color coding. Asteroid Wood in the progressed composite is a 949, and that connects 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 to Loha, the street address at 945 that had crossed over, still conjunct to our Saturn in the ninth. And are there any more 910s? Oh yeah, Ginky here at 916. My husband's nickname is 1006, our north node 1009. Seventh house Pisces. So we have that connection, and then we have the connection to Venus here, 10th house, work, career, reputation, life direction. And that is opposite our last name here in the progressed composite, and Wood, which is conjunct to it. So we have Jupiter at 555, beautiful number. South Node had crossed that, and it connects to the property address at the lumber company, 446. Gianna, our progress Gianna is at 539, which connects by inconjunct to the Chiron and to the Saturn and Mars. Then, let's see, the salesman's first name here is connected by square to the salesman by transit, 2 degrees 50 minutes, 3 degrees 5 minutes. Then, let's see. I remember all the numbers. Oh, name of the lumber company, 1939, which I forgot to mention was connecting to my Icarus, I think by inconjunct. Icarus is things in divine order. Okay, where was I going? 1939, there was something by transit. Oh, wood. 1, 2, 3, 4, trying to transit wood. So you can kind of see where I'm going here with this, because that would also connect to the Juno at 2149. I try to keep it within 2 degrees when I do this. The zeros, 22, Pluto here would connect to Gagnero and Neptune. I've been having so many things go on. It's just insane in my dreams and in my life. So let's see. Oh, Saturn here at 432, opposite the address number of the lumber company. And that would also connect to the Jupiter and Saturn, Mars. Okay, on to the next one. This one is my husband's solar return. Now, his birthday was last November, and this one doesn't start till next November, and that kind of annoys me, but it still seems to work out. I have a printed off chart of his last year's, and it still works out too. So anyway, so his property address of the lumber company at 235 connects to the salesman by transit at 250, 7th house, Libra relationships. You know, he had been talking to the guy working with him on this project, had already gotten some wood, some specialized trim for this project, and then had to get a couple more pieces. So that's the 250 and the 3. Scan real quick, see if we have anything else matching. Oh, the Mars, 223. And that's in Sagittarius, 9th house. Then we have the midheaven and the IC are 945, and that's exactly the degree of the transiting Loha address of the property. I didn't put the invoice number in all the other ones, just on my natal, just to show that it does work out. So in our packs over here is at 819. Let's see. The lumber company had retrograded back past the salesman's name. Like I said, he had already worked with this salesman, or it was retrograding back. Maybe that has to do with my post on it today. Let's see. Jupiter is opposite our south node in Venus and had crossed our north node already. Oh, 13. Mars on Sirius here, opposite Teague, the lumber company name, and connecting to our Chiron here. Our part of fortune, oh, was also another 251 that connects to the salesman's name and the property address. So what I was looking here at, the Juno connects to the Sirius, Mars on Sirius, and to transit Adolf at 1225. And let's see, this is the boring stuff here, pointing it all out. But if you know how to read these things, then you can see pretty clearly. Uh, our his solar return Juno here connects to the lumber company, to his Chiron. I know I was saying hour, I forgot I was doing the solar return. So Pluto at 0 degrees 20 minutes here connects to his first house Saturn at 0:59. Oh, I didn't even notice. I gotta look at the numbers. One of the Whites and Juno are here together. Now the solar return is a chart for year to year from your birthday. And so we have White and Juno are almost exactly conjunct. And the salesman's name here is almost exactly the same, 1450. Uranus is connected to this White here in his solar return. And that connects to Gagaro, 20 degrees. Neptune in the first connects, of course, to the North Node and the South Node at 24 degrees. It connects to Wood at 25, to Mercury here at 25 degrees. So we have all these different aspects going on, connecting all these different things. Oh, I have my husband's asteroid highlighted here. I highlighted a couple of them because I wanted to remember that Midheaven and IC connected to the property address, but my husband's, it had already crossed the property address here, Aloha, at 9:45. It already crossed my husband. Like I said, he had arranged for me to go pick him up, pick all this up for him. So, yeah, that kind of gives you an idea a little bit. You start matching up the numbers around from the outside to the inside and also seeing what all's connecting in the solar return, showing it all matching up. On to the next one. This is my husband's progress chart for that day, for the eclipse. And, the eclipse here at 2940 Aries is opposite his progress moon, which by now has already moved in to Scorpio. I'm pretty sure it moves pretty quick. Your progress moon moves pretty quickly. So we have the salesman sitting here on his, just past his ascendant, progressed ascendant. Like I said, he's been working with him for a little while. Gagnero here, 2835 on his Uranus, and that's opposite transit husband's name. Oh, I'm going to highlight. There's a 945. His progressed name here, nickname, connects again 945 to the property address of the lumber company. Ginky here, near his progressed part of fortune, connect to the salesman by transit 250. And let's see, go back to the eclipse. His Gianna is right here at 2917 Gemini. Now, if I compared the progress chart to the natal chart, uh, then it would show Teague would be opposite. No, let's see. He's a Sagittarius sun, would be sextile to his sun. I don't like to compare the progress to the natal because it doesn't throw in the transits, and uh, they kind of ignore the transiting asteroids completely in the progress natal transit. So I like to just see how things line up because your asteroids move just like all your planets do. So that is another way that you could compare the charts and do the work. Um, we have Mars at 1302 on one of the whites here. Of course, that's sitting on Sirius, and that connects to my husband's nickname, to the Mars. 3 degrees, I like it a little better. Anyway, so then we have Wood here. His progressed Wood is trying to transit Wood. But here in a row, we have Wood, the salesman's name, and our last name all in second house, Scorpio here. And at 19 degrees and 20 degrees, that's opposite the Juno and Uranus. We could throw in midpoints. We could throw in all kind of extra things. We could go look at the different symbols for Sabian symbols and for um, the Omega and Chandra. There's so many ways that you can look at all of this. And like I said, that's what I study with the people that I'm still working on. But back to where I was. We have Venus here, opposite my husband's name and his progressed here. And that connects to the Juno at 9 degrees. And of course, his nickname here. Then we have Adolf and White are exactly conjunct here, just a few minutes off, 37 minutes off in Capricorn related to work. And of course, the lumber company sits at the corner of Adolf and White. And those connect to Wood by sextile and the salesman's name and our last name. That would also connect to the property address, a little more widely, closer to 4 degrees opposite that white. And then his progressed ascendant is 126, and his midheaven and IC is 132. And, the salesman here, and then we have his progressed sun. Like I said, this is kind of challenging right here when your axes are all that close in number. He's been going through it for a while. My solar return this year is the same way. So a little struggle, but we're tough. Do not predict because there are so many archetypes for each thing that we'll see what happens. And I'll make a chart of it. So anyway, so you can see there's all kind of matchups as you go around. His nodes are connected to his progressed Pluto here. Uh, the eclipse at 29 degrees Aries connects to that Uranus here. And of course touches all of his axes. Anyway, so I'm just going to real quick. This is our regular composite chart for my husband and myself. And I'm going to leave it up long enough. If anybody wants to screenshot it and study it on their own, that's fine. We have, I had pointed out before that the name of the lumber company here at 1532 and Mercury form an inconjunct. Mars had just crossed over our ascendant here. Our ascendant is almost on Sirius, so it is conjunct. We have our composite chart. We do have that sun on the 8th house cusp. It's been strange. We've had 13 years together and it's a lot of ups and downs. But we make it work. So my husband's nickname and my husband's name have now already crossed over our midheaven. But they were conjunct the 9th house Mars at the time. And, the nodes, North Node has just crossed over our Saturn. and sextile to transit Saturn. That's this Pluto here, transit Pluto connects to one of the whites here, to Neptune, our last name, that are conjunct here, also with our vertex, and that's at 29 degrees Scorpio. Our composite name of the street address of the lumber company connects to our Venus by semi-sextile and in conjunct our Sun on that 8th house cusp. The salesman's name would connect to our ascendant and descendant. It's in conjunct 5 signs to Mars on Sirius. We've got Adolf here connecting to the salesman by transit there. Gagno gone back past the moon and is working its way back to the Pluto. The lumber company here, square to the nodes. Pax was opposite this white. No. There are so many more things I could add in that I'm just not going to do. It's just too much even for me. Uranus here is now in conjunct Juno. Not quite exact yet. I think it just crossed over 18 degrees. So yeah, I think it's been up long enough. You can look at it more closely and see what all I've missed. We got Ginky in the 8th here trying to Venus. So much going on. We got that 0 degree midheaven and IC. We shall see. And since I edited it already, this is his natal chart. So I'll just throw it in real quick. There's one that I put in here that I hadn't mentioned yet. Of course, Ergo. Ergo is, the Ergo spot is putting in known factors into something to make it work, kind of like I do with this charting. And that also is the asteroid number for our house address. And this is where I started learning to do all of this. And ergo here, his natal ergo is opposite this particular white and connects to his wood and Juno, to his Neptune, to his Adolf, vertex, Chiron, Pluto, the address of the lumber company. You can see there's a lot of 22, 23, 24s connecting to that. We have a lot of big stuff going on. Like, see, Gagnero here had just retrograded past his Uranus. He was kind of surprised, I don't know why, that I offered to go get these for him. I've helped him out many times, but I've had so much going on, and we both have. It's just been insane. We just have to work together. So then we have Pluto at 022 here, connects to his Gagnero by sextile, and he doesn't have a lot of 29s and zeros of obvious like I do. But let's see. I do know his better. Wood, 1, 2, 3, 4. Trine is Mercury. The salesman's name sits right here with his Juno, his natal Juno, at the 24, 25, which of course would be opposite this transit white and Jupiter and the moon and Neptune here in his name. Let's see. Part of fortune, his part of fortune is 358, and of course the nodes are at 4 degrees and 1 minute. They're kind of still hanging out about there right now, I do believe. And Saturn has been, what's that, in conjunct 5 signs, 4 signs, 5. He's had a lot of other things going on in his personal life. So Gianna's here at 4 degrees sextile to his part of fortune. Yay, I helped him out. And um, let's see. His sun at 5 degrees. Gianna has retrograded back past over that. I just got back from being in Indiana for another 4 weeks. That's like 16 weeks and 5 months time now. But so yeah, we got a lot going on. This Uranus course has been going back and forth opposite his Mercury and himself. And things are getting shaken up. So anyway, that kind of gives you an idea how I do my work and this particular thing that we did here where I helped him out. Like I said, we did several things that day. Um, so, oh, one more thing I see here though is 945. The property number had just crossed over his midheaven. And so the more you look, the more you see. Thanks for watching. I know it's long, but I just want to show that I can pull this up and make all these aspects and all the different charts. And I'm not saying I know everything, not even close, but uh, from what I have seen in thousands of charts, there's definitely something to it all. So, thank you for watching. Have a great day.